History of the Dragons. Long before the elves or even Ealdors' vast forests existed, there was only the eternal dance of the spirit of the moon, the spirit of the stars, and the spirit of the sun. These celestial entities lit the void and balanced the ebb and flow of time. From their light and whispers emerged the first mystical spirits, beings of pure energy that roamed freely across the empty land. These spirits were the first keepers of the world, guardians of its balance. When the gods of old arrived to shape the land further, they created the elves as the first mortal race, intending them to live harmoniously with nature. However, they foresaw that the elves, despite their grace and wisdom, would one day face great threats from forces beyond their understanding. Thus, the gods looked to the raw magic of the land, weaving together the essence of fire, air, earth, and water with the songs of the celestial spirits. From this union was born the first dragon, Ealdors, the flame of eternity, a majestic serpentine creature whose scales shimmered like the stars and whose breath could create or destroy life. Ealdors was not merely a protector, but a symbol of the gods' favour, a creature of unparalleled power and grace. From Ealdors came the other dragons, each unique, their forms shaped by the magic of the lands they inhabited. Some were fiery and tempestuous, guarding the volcanic mountains. Others were ethereal and tranquil, gliding above the forests and rivers. The dragons, tethered to the very essence of Ealdors' magic, became the wardens of balance and protectors of the elves. The dragons, however, were untamable by their very nature. They were beings of such immense power that even the gods struggled to keep their influence in check. To bridge the gap between the mortal elves and their mystical guardians, the gods bestowed their blessing upon a select group of elves, transforming them into dragon lords. These elves were marked with golden eyes and runic markings upon their skin that glowed faintly with magic. They could communicate with the dragons through thought and song, forging unbreakable bonds that transcended life itself. The dragon lords were revered as the highest of all elves, wise leaders and protectors of Ealdor. Together with their dragons, they ensured that the lands prospered and harmony endured. As time passed, the great forests of Ealdor began to shrink, their magic fading as the lands were cultivated and reshaped by mortal hands. The dragons, tied to the essence of the forests and rivers, began to wither. One by one, the magnificent creatures disappeared, their voices silenced. The dragon lords, bound to their dragons in body and soul, felt the loss more deeply than any. It is said that as their dragons faded, so too did their will to live. One by one, the dragon lords fell, their light extinguished, their runes turning cold. By the time the last dragon vanished from the lands of Ealdor, the dragon lords were no more, and the age of dragons came to an end. Thousands of years later, long after dragons were thought to be myth, Kilgara, the last flame, was born. The elves of Ealdor believed he was a gift from the great goddess herself, unaware of the sacrifice a once mortal gave to protect his people. Unlike his predecessors, Kilgara bore the weight of solitude, his heart heavy with the loss of his kind as well as the loss of his mortality. Legends say that Kilgara is not truly alone. Somewhere, hidden beyond the edges of the world, lies the sanctuary of Scales, where the last dragons and their descendants slumber, waiting for the day when the forests of Ealdor will rise again, It is prophesied that when the forests are reborn and magic surges through the land once more, Kilgara and the dragons will return, their roars cleansing the corruption of the world and ushering in a new age of wonder and harmony.